Hi, my name is AJ Smith. I'm a product marketing manager in the Microsoft 365 marketing team.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shilpi Sana. I'm a group program manager in the Microsoft 365 product engineering team.
In today's session, we're going to cover a bit about what Productivity Score is and why we built it. And then we're going to jump into a bunch of demos. And then lastly, we'll do a quick summary of what you learned and then talk about some next steps. Over the past few years, the way that people work has changed. They work much more collaboratively. They work across many teams. Of course, they work across many apps and devices, and they need to be able to work anywhere and anytime. And if we look back at the beginning of this year, none of us would have been able to predict how much life and work was going to change. And at first, people responded to the immediate crisis, getting everybody to be able to work remotely. But as many more organizations start to recover their business and think about the future of work, they're realizing that some of these things are going to be much more persistent and durable. Now, from getting everyone set up for remote work to having a great hybrid experience, and of course, making sure that everyone who's on site can actually stay connected with everyone, digital transformation leaders and IT pros have done a great job in transforming their organization, and sometimes doing 2 years of transformation in 2 months. And without them, we simply just couldn't work. And we've also heard from organizations that they're trying to understand how they get the most from their Microsoft 365 subscription. And they do this partly by looking at usage, and that's their proxy, but they know it's just not ideal. Now, what you need more than ever is the ability to understand how your organization's working, how technology affects your productivity, and of course, how you can get the most from your Microsoft 365 purchase. And that's why we've built Microsoft Productivity Score. Productivity Score gives you insights that transform how work gets done. We do this by focusing on 3 things. The first is visibility. You need to understand how your organization actually works. And we do that by focusing on things like the employee experience, which includes areas like content collaboration, meetings, and communication. But you also need to understand how your technology affects your productivity. And that's why we give you information around the technology experience in areas like endpoints, network connectivity, and your applications. Now, it's great that we give you this visibility, but you definitely need to understand more than where you just are today. And that's why we give you insights to help you understand where you can enable these improved experiences. A great example of this is one of my favorites in content collaboration, where that you can understand how users are actually doing links versus attachments in email messages. They both allow you to share content, but using links makes it a lot easier for me to not actually have to merge all those changes that I would normally have to do with all those attachments. And lastly, you want to enable everyone to do their best work. And that's where you can provide some additional training or modify some system settings. Now, instead of me talking about Productivity Score all the time, let me hand it over to Shilpi to give you a demo of the employee experience and what it will look like at general availability. Shilpi, take it away.
Thanks, AJ. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to show you how to interpret your productivity score and help you drive measurable progress in your digital transformation journey. Your productivity score is available within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and you can get to it by clicking on this link in the Reports tab in the left navigation bar. Let's begin here on the right panel, where you can see your overall productivity score. It's represented as a percentage of the points your organization has earned over a maximum possible of 800 points. Your score is comprised of 2 main subscores: employee experience, which has 5 categories, and technology experience, which has 3 categories. And each category earns a maximum of 100 points. These gray markers here are your peer benchmarks, which enables you to compare these scores with organizations like yours. These benchmarks are anonymous cohorts of Microsoft 365 customers that are similar in the subscription type, tenure in the service, industry, or region. You can see your score history for the last 6 months, and this helps you see the impact of your efforts to drive change in your organization. Now let's dive into the employee experience categories. If you think about it, technology is merely a means to an end. It facilitates you to meet your business objectives by enabling your most important asset, your people, to achieve their highest potential. Microsoft 365 not only enables your workforce to achieve their highest productivity, but now also quantifies this as a measurable score. It shows you if people are communicating using flexible ways that suit their work styles and needs, if they're using meeting tools effectively to save each other time, or if they're collaborating on content with others in the cloud, or if they're working together in shared workspaces for collective success. And lastly, the most relevant in today's situation, if people are working flexibly from anywhere and any location. Within each of these categories, we show you the trend of the main metric that informs your score, as well as how the peer benchmark is trending. You can explore each of these categories for more supporting information, and then choose to focus on the ones where you see the most need. Let's start with communication. We understand that people have different communication styles. If I want to get a quick response from someone, I might send them an instant message. If I'm sending a status mail to my leadership, I might choose to use email. And if I want to send a message to a broad audience, I might choose to post a message in a community. Fact is, communication style is as much a functional choice as it is a cultural aspect of your organization. Microsoft 365 enables you to offer this flexibility to your workforce. And therefore, the score for communication is computed as a percent of the people that are frequently using multiple products to communicate. You can drill in to see this primary insight on the top left, as well as the trend view of the percent of people that frequently use multiple products to communicate. We also provide you with supporting information that helps you gain additional visibility into how people in your organization communicate. These additional metrics do not directly influence the contribution of your productivity score, but are relevant in helping you devise an action plan to drive finer optimizations to the way people work. For example, within communications, we show you the breakdown of the percent of licensed users who are using the various communication products, such as email, messaging, or posting in Yammer. Now, needless to say, when you send an email, you want it to generate a response. And statistically, we've found that when people use @mentions, it improves their ability to get a response back. So here you can see the percentage of emails with @mentions that gets responses as compared to those that do not use @mentions. We also show you the breakdown of the people who send one-on-one or group chats versus messages in team channels. And for those that are posting a question in the community in Yammer, are people getting their questions answered? And are some of those answers being marked as best? Now, if you want to drive change in how people work, you may want to start by figuring out which metric to focus on and who to target. We show you here that 20% of your people use @mentions, and you may want to target those that don't use it with some awareness messaging. And for that, we provide you with relevant user level details to help you accomplish your end user outreach. This user level grid provides you a 28-day aggregate view on users' usage. So let's say you were trying to raise awareness on @mentions. You would narrow down the list of users who were not using @mentions. And then you may want to target those users in a particular region. Notice here that we have brought some additional AAT fields into the table, and by default, we show you the country field. But you can add additional columns such as city, state, company, or departments. Now let's say I would like to target users by a certain department, so I would choose that. And the departments column would be added into my user level grid. I can now export this data and easily slice and dice based on this org context and tailor my end user outreach effort with this information. Now, anytime there's user level details about product or feature use, you are going to want to ensure the solution is compliant by user privacy. So let me explain to you how this works. Any user who has a global admin or a product admin or a report reader role will be able to access the complete experience within Productivity Score. That includes the summary insights as well as the user level details. By default, the user level details shows up with username in clear text. If that does not comply with your organizational policies, your global admin can configure a setting to anonymize this text. The report reader role, as the name suggests, allows you to only read reports. It does not give you any configurability rights within the admin center. In addition, this Ignite, we're announcing a new role called the Usage Summary Reports Reader role, which gives you access only to the summary information within Productivity Score. Between these two roles, you can invite digital transformation leaders and decision makers into the Microsoft 365 Admin Center to view the insights available within Productivity Score. Now let's drill into the meeting category. Here, our goal is to help you improve the quality of meetings in your org, because research shows that when people use meeting tools effectively, they can save up to 104 minutes per week. For your reference, you can see the research linked from here. Meetings is scored based on a percent of meetings that follow best practices that help you run effective meetings. Some of the best practices show how meetings can be more engaging and inclusive by turning on video and screen sharing. Over time, we'll be adding several more best practices such as meetings with agenda, pre-meeting discussions, meeting recording, post-meeting notes, etc. We also know that it's top of mind for you to understand how much time people are spending in the meetings and whether these meetings are using the recommended best practices. In addition, you want to know what percentage of meetings are scheduled ahead of time or on a more ad hoc basis, and the typical length of these meetings. We also show you what percentage of people engage in instant calls or group calls or Meet Now capabilities within Teams channel versus scheduling one-off meetings or recurring meetings ahead of time. We enable you with this visibility so you can devise the right action plan to drive change in the meetings culture in your org. Now let's drill into collaborating on content. Research shows that when people collaborate on content together in the cloud, they save up to 104 minutes per week. The score is structured based on how frequently people create content on the cloud, read content, or collaborate with others in the cloud. On top here, you see the 28-day aggregate, and on the right, we show you the rolling last 28 daily aggregate. We provide you additional visibility into how your org collaborates on content. Are people saving content to the Microsoft Cloud, sharing files with others? And when they do share, do they send a file attachment or send cloud links? Or do they share internally or externally? And you may also want to understand the depth of collaboration by seeing how many documents are people collaborating on together. Now, let's say you want to raise awareness amongst people who are not saving content to the cloud. You would go to the user list, slice and dice to the set you want to target, and copy their email addresses and start an email thread to send to those people. Next, you can come to the view-related content and copy the link to the specific video that shows the benefit of saving to the cloud. You can paste this link in your email and send the email off. We've made it easy for you by bringing relevant learning content all in one place so you can save time trying to find the content for user training. In the future, we're looking to simplify this whole workflow and help you send contextual in-product nudges to your users through customized messaging, and also enable you to track impact on such outreach. But sometimes, user awareness may not be the real reason that is impacting employee experience. They may be running into technical issues that in the past was not easy for you to track down and would leave you struggling on how best to enable your employees. We're making it easier for you to be aware of technology-related issues that may be impacting your employee experience. For example, in case of content collaboration, where people have to rely on the network to interact with their content in the cloud, if your network configuration is impacting people's ability to save or open documents from the cloud, then we show that insight here, so you can have an informed conversation with your network team and show them the impact to employee experience and urge them to expedite fixes that can improve it. Communicating, meeting, and collaborating on content. These are core pillars of the way people work to accomplish their business goals. But another fundamental pillar for organizational productivity is when people engage in teamwork, when groups of people bound by a common goal leverage each other as well as common resources for collective success. Research indicates that when people share information and collaborate in shared workspaces, they save up to 4 hours a week. They can create a common purpose, find expertise, find related documents, find context of previous discussions, and easily ramp up new team members. Within the teamwork category, the score is created as a measure of the percent of people in your organization that engage in teamwork within shared workspaces. And here on the left, you can see the aggregate value, as well as on the right, we show you the trend of how this is progressing. But here we also show you the percent of people who are engaging in similar activities, but not necessarily within the context of a shared workspace. We provide you additional information such as number of people who worked within shared workspaces by sending emails to the Office 365 group or messages within a Teams channel or collaborating on files within a team site. In addition to showing you if people are engaged in shared workspaces, we also show you how many workspaces have any level of engagement. And here we break it down by the age and size of the workspaces. You can use this information to clear up old workspaces that are not in use anymore. We also show you the number of days in a week that people engage within their team. And if you have shared workspaces that do not have Microsoft Teams associated with them, then you can encourage owners to try it out and use the benefits of staying as a well-connected team. In the details section here, we don't just show you a list of users that are engaging in teamwork, but we also show you a list of the workspaces that people are engaging in. And finally, let's drill into the mobility category. Microsoft 365 offers flexibility in accessing your cloud content from anywhere, be it email, messages, or documents. This category is scored based on percent of people using multiple platforms to get to their work from anywhere at any time. We provide additional information about the platforms people use to access email, messages, or their documents. In 2020, with a switch to remote work, Microsoft 365 helps play a role in enabling your workforce to maintain business continuity. Customers were asking us to help them understand the impact of the switch. And in response, we're bringing an insight that helps you see the trend of the percent of your employee base that is working remote or only working on-site. And it helps you identify shifts, such as the one that happened in the US around March. Over time, we plan to add insights that help you see how these cohorts influence your organization's overall productivity score. However, since the demand to see impact to business continuity was so high, we teamed up with the Workplace Analytics team to offer you a special report that demonstrates the impact of the shift, and you can access this report directly from the homepage. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to AJ to walk you through the technology experience score categories.
Thanks, Shilpi. Now, as you all saw earlier, network connectivity is important to your content collaboration experience. Nobody wants to wait minutes for your file to open or to even upload. And that's in part why it's included in the technology experience. This category helps you understand your connectivity to Exchange, SharePoint, and Teams. The card on the homepage helps me understand what my score currently is and the benchmark. And here I can see I'm a little bit under that benchmark, so I definitely know I could do a bit better. So let's dig into that a little bit. Here I can see the details of my network connectivity. In the upper right, I can see my score. And then right underneath it, I can see my score breakdown. I get points for Exchange based on latency, SharePoint's based on throughput, and for Teams, it's based on UDP latency, jitter, and packet loss. So those are all critical to having a great meeting and call experience. Now in the main area of the page, I'm on this Overview tab. There's also an Insights tab that would help me understand all the insights for my entire tenant. Then I can also see my locations across my entire tenant that we have networking location information on. And that either comes from Windows Location Services, LAN subnet information, or manually submitted test reports. And the last tab, of course, for history is really focused on making sure that I'm able to analyze my history data for my score and kind of dive deeper into it. Now, right underneath there, of course, is this map that helps me understand all my locations and what my scores are there. And then underneath there, I can see my list of recommended actions and areas that I need to do further research on. Now, if I scroll back up, I can see I've got a couple locations with some really red circles. And I want to dive into my Philadelphia location just to see what's going on. Now, by looking at the middle of the screen, I can see probably one of my first big issues, which is I'm backhauling all my traffic from Philadelphia to Seattle. And then I'm connecting to a front door of the service in basically central Washington and all the way also up into Vancouver. But there are plenty of areas on the eastern side of the United States that I can easily connect to. And this is partly why I've got this score of 18 over here. Now, if I scroll down, I get some additional recommended actions. Of course, the backhaul network egress is one. I also have some SSL inspection on my Office 365 endpoints that I want to look at. And then I've got some impact from proxy servers. And then, of course, there's some further research that I can do. And all of this here that you're seeing is specific just to my Philadelphia location. Now, one big question we get from organizations is the infrastructure of the location that I'm working in, is that an impact to my score, or is it something that's under my control? And that's what this report here lets me understand. So this chart here, I can see that I've got a score that's in the bottom bucket here at 0 to 20. And there's 23% of organizations like me that actually have this score. But I can see there's 77% of organizations that actually have a better score than I do. And that tells me that it's not just the location I'm in, and that's the infrastructure there, but it's more of the settings that I have, because I should be able to attain a higher score if I really wanted to. Having great connectivity is only part of the equation, and having healthy apps is also really important. And that's why we show you your Microsoft 365 app health. Here, this measures if I have the best versions of the apps deployed and if the apps are in a healthy state, as the latest Microsoft 365 apps offer me the most productive and secure experience. Now here on the homepage, I can see I've got 60% of my devices on a recommended update channel, and that's just barely above the benchmark. So I think I could do a bit better. So let's dig into this a bit. So at the top, I can see the info from the homepage that's used to calculate my score. And of course, I can see how my scores, and I can see how the devices have progressed over time and if they're on those recommended update channels or not. Now, my score is calculated based on how many devices are on the recommended channels and how many of them are staying up to date with the latest releases in that channel. Devices that are on unsupported versions or non-recommended channels, they just don't contribute to your score, as they're going to be missing security patches and all the latest features and services. So you're not all going to be gurus in channels, and I get that. So let's do a quick refresher on them. To get the best experience for your Microsoft 365 apps, you need to be on a recommended monthly channel. And that's either going to be the current channel or the monthly enterprise channel. Now, many organizations I talk to like the monthly enterprise channel because it allows them to take those updates on a periodic basis, and it gives them that consistency. It also gives them the ability to gradually roll out changes, and it gives you the best cross-platform experience, so that if you're using it with Teams or using it on a PC, mobile, on the web, or on a Mac, you get a great experience across the board. Now, the semi-annual channel that we provide doesn't give you these benefits, and that's why it's not one of our best recommended channels. Now, I can get deeper into the data by looking at the Explore More about my Microsoft 365 app health. Here, I can see the percentage of devices that are on the current channel with running supported versions and latest releases. Also, of course, in the monthly enterprise channel and the semi-annual enterprise channel. I can also see the exact number of devices running supported and recent versions and how that's progressed over time. Now, having information on these supported versions is critical for just about any organization, but knowing if people have the latest Microsoft 365 apps is important. Our research shows that if you give people the best features, they have a higher satisfaction with an NPS of increase of at least 10 points. And they also get the best performance. For example, we've improved Outlook boot speed by 45% year over year. And of course, there's going to be higher usage of collaboration features. So what we're showing you today is just the start of what we want to do. In the future, you'll see us provide information around app reliability to help you understand those unexpected app exits, and app performance. How long does that app take to load, and how long does it take to open with a file? And this is all going to be in context with how you compare with other organizations just like you, so you can provide a great Microsoft 365 app experience in your own organization. You can have great connectivity, you can have great Microsoft app health, you have great employee experience. But if your end users' PCs take 5 minutes to boot up, or unexpected service crashes get in the way of their workflow, you're not going to have optimal productivity. Productivity killers like these, related to the endpoints themselves, is exactly what endpoint analytics is all about. Endpoint analytics is built on top of Microsoft Endpoint Manager, or MEM, and supports data collection from both Intune and Configuration Manager managed endpoints. Endpoint analytics currently focuses on 3 areas to help you address these root causes: startup performance, which is what you see right here in the chart, recommended software, and proactive remediations. Now, if I click into Endpoint Analytics, I can see my overall summary page. Here I can see my score and the baseline that I'm comparing against. And I can also see how my score is made up. Right now, it's made up of my startup performance and my recommended software. And on the right side, I have my insights and recommendations. Now, let's deep dive into the endpoint analytics component so I can see what's going on in each of the three areas. And let's start with startup performance. Startup performance looks at the time it takes between the user powering up a Windows 10 PC to when they actually have a responsive desktop. And this gives you your overarching score, your baseline, and the score breakdown as it compares your core boot score and a core sign-in score. Now, I've got a great score here, but I definitely want to dig into this a bit more. And I can also look at like different models and their performance or different devices so I could understand how all of this relates to my entire estate. Next, let's take a look at the recommended software area. Here, this analyzes my Microsoft 365 software component deployment and currency on Windows 10 PCs. It also provides me a software adoption score and benchmarks based on the existing version of I'm using of Windows 10, Azure AD, MEM, and Windows Autopilot. Now, lastly, that's just going to bring us into the proactive remediations. This allows you to run Microsoft-supplied and custom PowerShell scripts that allow you to detect and remediate common productivity killers. This is a powerful tool which enables you to detect and fix problems even before the users become aware of them. The library you see here houses these script packages where then you can select a group of endpoints against which you can then deploy those detection scripts. And then when an issue is detected across any of these machines, the remediation script just fires off to fix it. Common issues such as a lack of network access certificates, problematic services, or stale group policies can easily be detected and fixed proactively, all without a call to the help desk or your user just sitting there suffering in silence. And this is just the beginning. In the next few weeks, you'll see us deliver some information around app reliability, which focuses on the performance and health of executables on your device, along with actions that you can take that would highly impact your actual app health there. And this is just one example of how we're constantly going to be adding new features to endpoint analytics, making it a powerful component of productivity score and the indispensable key to making MEM the foundation of operational excellence and user satisfaction. So we showed you a lot today, so let me summarize a couple of things. Productivity score gives you insights that transform how work gets done, and it's made up of two areas that each have a score. The employee experience shows you how Microsoft 365 is helping to create a productive and engaged workforce by providing information on content collaboration, mobility, communications, meetings, and teamwork. The technology experience helps you to ensure that your technology that you provide gives everyone a high-performant and up-to-date experience so they can be as productive as possible, focusing on your endpoints, network connectivity, and Microsoft 365 app health. Both experiences provide actionable insights that stand on their own and have interplay with each other. If you want to see what your productivity score is, go to aka.ms/productivity score. Note that you need to have the reports reader role or higher to access your score. To learn more about productivity score, check out our definitive guide to all the resources available at aka.ms/prodscore resources. Thanks for taking the time to learn about productivity score, and have a great day.